Welcome back, Toddler Tribe. Today, I am really wanting to relay the foundation of the show. It's a new year. You have new goals. I've been on so many complimentary connection calls lately where parents are asking me to help them, not surprisingly, with their toddlers' big behaviors. And every single time, that we circle back to the root of the behavior, it's actually a connection issue. It is a parent and child relationship issue. It's a heart to heart connection, or I guess in those moments, rather a disconnect. And so it's led me to want to, like I said, reground as we start a new year and support you to raise emotionally intelligent kids in that moment and really win their heart. I heard this recently and I loved it, and it's just stuck with me. When we win our kids' hearts is when we set ourselves up to support them to have more positive and engaging behaviors. So many years ago, when Core 4 parenting was just kind of a glimmer in my heart and in my soul and in my brain, and that science-based background of mine with the early childhood education, and that soul-based background of mine with that deep connection to little people my whole life started to fuse, I came up with these Core 4 connectors. And the more I read and the more I researched, I realized this is social psychology. That how we relate to other people, it really doesn't change. And when we are in a healthy social psychology pattern and in a healthy relationship that evolves over time with another person, it doesn't matter if they're 2, 22, 52, or 92. There are 4 binders, 4 agreements, another great book, The 4 Agreements, that allow us to navigate really positive, fun, engaging moments together, and also to weave through our challenging moments together. Last year, I took a road trip with my husband. We drove to Tennessee to see our daughter for Christmas. And we listened to The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People by Stephen Covey. And one of the things he talked about in that book is making emotional deposits into this bank account that you have with your kids. And his book is for everybody, right? Whatever age you are, businesses apply it, partners, spouses apply it. But and he did tell some parenting stories in there too. I really latched on to those. This idea that we all have a bank account inside of us, inside of our souls. And it's an emotional space that can either be exacerbated in the very best way when people speak to us in such a way that it expands our connecting points, or it can be depleted in such a way that we are making deposits from this emotional bank account when people speak to us and engage with us in demeaning or negative identity ways. So the 2 connectors that I want to focus on today are trust and respect. And the words that we can use that tell our toddlers that I trust you and I respect you. That this bond that we have is about who we are, not about what we do. That who-ness is that core here for me. So the story I want to share today is deeply personal and really encapsulates this idea that regardless of time and space and where we are and where we grew up, that who we are and that trust that we have and that respect that we have for the people that we love is how we will continue to grow through our lives together. So many of you know, if you've been listening to the show for any length of time, that our youngest moved to Japan, that she is there for college, and that after going for what she thought was going to be a 1-year getaway, she decided, you know what, I'm going to stay here for the rest of college. But what many of you don't know is that not too far after arriving in that new space, that new culture, that new city, she met a boy. And they knew pretty early on that they had each found the other half of each other. It was a big piece of information to receive as parents here in America. What was even more fascinating about the whole experience was he's not Japanese. Just like her, he went to Japan for an opportunity to learn, and they met. They had just happened to meet in Tokyo. So, a year plus later, it was time for my husband, who has never met Giovanni, to have a conversation with him. I had the honor and the privilege of spending 3 weeks in Tokyo this last summer, and that face-to-face time, that interaction time that I had with this young man really helped me see and learn who he is. And my husband hadn't had that opportunity. When I was over there, Giovanni showed me his character. He showed me who he is, his integrity, and his deep belief system that falling in love with someone's head and falling in love with someone's soul is the foundation for a forever relationship. He did this in a number of ways. He took an entire day off from work to invite me on a date. We spent the whole day together. He took me to the beach. He took me to temples and showed me a little bit of the space that I hadn't seen before, but ultimately we sat on benches and we talked. And he shared his heart with me and his soul with me and his dreams with me. And he told me what he would love for a life and a future with our daughter, Caroline. Now I trust Caroline. I respect her judgment. I have no doubt that if I had never met him, that she knows exactly her heart well enough to choose a suitable match. But in that moment, the relationship that I have with my daughter felt even stronger and more bonded as I was building a relationship with this young man. It was terrifying for him, I'm sure, but he trusted me enough to say, can we spend some time together? And he respected me enough to hear all about our family, even though it does not match up at all with the childhood that he had, because he is from the Congo. And I trusted him to share his stories with me, and I 100% respected the fact that he has a different origin story and that his traditions and values and his culture are very different than ours. Whew. For those of you that have blended families out there, you know this process. You know that you have to accept people for who they are as they enter into your world, your home, your relationships, your hearts, but you also need to trust and respect them enough to hear their version of what came before. So as I alluded to, Giovanni and my husband had never had a conversation, and it was time. However, they're not coming back this way for a very long time, so it had to be over Zoom. And the anxiety around that conversation on both sides, as the day was almost here, right? We had to find just the right time because our 7 a.m. is their 9 p.m. and all the different parts and pieces of the logistics to make the conversation possible. Yes, there was all that. But ultimately, that's not what mattered. What matters is that my husband Jeremiah was able to open himself up to be ready to meet this new person and to hear and to see and to accept him for who he is while learning all about what his goals are for the future. I'll be totally honest with you. I had just as much anxiety about this upcoming conversation as anybody else. I was very concerned that there might be some emotional withdrawals made intentionally or unintentionally. I don't know. We are blending cultures, we are blending personalities, we are blending worlds that from central and southern, many generational Vermont perspectives with African cultural, tribal perspectives. And then, of course, there's the fact that they live in Japan, which they are absorbing all of that as their everyday existence. You want so much for your kids. You always want them to do more, to experience more, to have more availabilities, more opportunities in life than you did. And so when meeting your child's forever life partner for the first time, it is terrifying. I thought it might be a 20-minute call. I thought it might be a 30-minute call at best. So this call that went on for over 2 hours absolutely made my heart sing. I didn't engage. I went and did my stuff because this was about them. But afterwards, when Jeremiah was done, the things I was hearing him say were so beautiful. And they had very little to do with the school that he's going to go to, or the program that he'll graduate from, or the fact that he has a brain. Like this guy is pretty dang smart. He speaks 4 languages already and he's working on his 5th. It was all about his character. He is focused. I heard my husband say, he is a hard worker. I can tell. He is devoted to our daughter. I can tell. This is a good guy. She picked a good one. Character. Winning the heart. That's where all of us need to start from our youngest days. And here's the kicker. And I am so excited about this, even though I haven't read any of the letters that Caroline has sent for Christmas yet. But she wrote a personalized Christmas letter to every single member of our family, not just this nuclear family, but aunts, uncles, grandmas, grandpas, Nana, Papa, every single person. And she sent them to me, and I'm printing them out. And everybody will get their Christmas letter. It probably will be the highlight, the gift of Christmas. And Giovanni said to Jeremiah, I have to be honest with you. I read the letter that she wrote you, and I'm a little jealous. She loves you so much, and you will always be the first guy in her life. And the first thing I realized about this girl when I met her was that her relationship with her parents mattered to her. And as soon as I knew that, It mattered to me. And I knew I had a good one on my hands. Do you see this emotional bank account? How we grow it by allowing each other to be true to who we are, while also building in opportunities for respectful interactions and trusting each other that even when it's tricky, we're going to surprise each other. This is going to be a little longer than one of my typical solo episodes because I want you to start thinking about how to build that relationship now with your toddlers. What are some of the ways that you can talk to them beyond the actual words, I trust you to make a good choice, or I respect that you wish you could have chocolate cake for breakfast? Sometimes I do too. But this morning, we're having eggs. Beyond building those actual words into your sentences, how can you make those emotional bank account deposits on a daily basis, pouring into them? That just because they're little, just because they're smaller than you, and just because you have an incredible power, and you do, to invoke that and cause power struggle, my way or the highway, that type of relationship. And you may have experienced that as a child. You might have had a very dictatorial parent in your life who just said it, and you were expected to do it or else. You may have had a very authoritative parent in your life who was just all about those strong boundaries and holding them without any regard for your feelings within them. And those young years, you absorbed all of that. And so when you are in a struggle moment as a parent, we default back. Okay, how was this handled when I was young? This is not conscious thought, it's subconscious. And those subconscious triggers create subconscious reactions, and you're just mimicking. But you're not here at this podcast to mimic. You showed up here because you know you want to hijack all that. And instead of meeting your tantruming, screaming, throwing toys around the room child with a high level of equal anger and frustration and noise and physical holding them so that they can't, you want a different way. That's why you're here. So this is my challenge for you. When your child elevates this week, when you see that trigger and boom, that escalate, if they're just up, I want you to come down. Can you try that? When they go up, you come down. Literally, if you have to, sit on the floor. Literally put your physical body in a down position. You know what you're doing? You're showing them, I love you, even when you're out of control. I'm going to get down on this floor with you. I'm in this with you. This isn't fun. Neither of us is having a good time. But I know that together we can come back down. Your physical body shows them that you trust them. And even when they are out of control, you are not going to let them deal with it on their own. Your tone, that shows them. Because they don't love feeling out of control. They feel icky up there. Sometimes when you hear yourself snap and you get loud and there's a tone to, and you, whoa, wait, was that actually me? This is the experience that they have. They don't want to feel this way. So, this is my challenge. I am so excited for you to lay strong foundations for 2025, to set yourself a goal that you're going to win your child's heart and you're going to share yours with them in a way that you have not done yet. And I really hope that you take this foundational goal of yours, right? I'm about to do my vision boards for the year, your vision for yourself, how you want to shift so that they can shift. And you turn it into it's a way to seek the knowledge. You're here, you've listened to the show, you know that one of my big goals is to support you to make a massive transformation in your home. So everybody feels really good about being in that home together, enjoying those moments and working through the challenges in a healthy way. So my invitation to you is to book one of those complimentary connection calls. The more I know you, the more I can help. And 2025 is going to be an amazing year for families building heart connections, learning to trust and respect each other in every moment. Until our next episode, which is going to be a part 2 of this, get excited. I'm actually going to read you the letter that Caroline wrote to her dad. You know what to do. Stay mindful and proactive as we transform the toddler years.